Gen V episode 6.
Mm. More twists and turns.
After the chaos that was last week's episode, with none of the characters knowing what was going on, and even though we thought we knew what was going on, we didn't know what was going on.
Mm. Now there's
This
more we
week,
didn't know.
yeah, this week having this kind of element of everyone gets their memories back, and
hmm
then like mind melt Kate traps them all inside her head in the most terrifying way possible.
Yeah, we get some dreams and dreams situation.
Uh-huh. Finding out about Jordan's.
Everyone's got dirt.
Yeah.
Everyone has blood on their hands, and everyone is being manipulated by that, which is just what we expect from the boys at this point. Like
No one
everyone,
has
yeah,
clean hands. Yeah.
no one is this perfect superhero. Everyone's just doing what they can and being forcefully led in places they might not want to go. But
Yeah.
yeah, we
And
get
to realize how long Kate had been manipulating people as well
mm,
was crazy. I
well,
mean, it does make sense that she'd been manipulating people for a while. And she dropped, like we found out a few episodes ago, she dropped out of the hero side and she'd moved into the talent side because she was going to be Golden Boy's manager. And
mm,
obviously, we didn't think anything of that at the time. That made sense. He
yeah,
was the number one Golden Boy. She had good powers. They were clearly in love with each other.
mm,
That makes complete sense. It's not uncommon, especially as people
but
to
yeah,
me and you who watch the gaming industry so much. It's really not uncommon for big gamers and streamers to have their spouse be their manager.
yeah, well, yeah, and it
Um,
also makes sure like it would make sense because she'd want to be in the limelight too. So why not just be the
exactly.
manager? I mean, for
But now
starters,
now I think that decision was made by her because her self esteem was so low from having to do this. Because let's be clear,
oh
Kate was being a bitch, but I think she hated every second of it.
yeah, see, I don't even think it was her decision. I think she was essentially stuck in that position where she had to stay close to Golden Boy because she had to repeatedly keep making him forget. Like if she just stopped and wasn't his manager, then there's like potential mess there. People finding
Yeah,
out like she was stuck in this position of having to be right by him because of
yeah,
what she'd been forced to do. Also, like
and
wild that her powers.
yeah, and like her life was unlivable without these drugs they were giving her to keep it under
Mm,
control. So what was she supposed to do?
yeah,
And
it's the
you got to remember
manipulation.
this girl. Yeah, and this girl had been abused since like she was like 9 years old emotionally because
Yeah,
her family hated her for something she couldn't control.
which we
Which
saw.
meant when someone came along and treated her remotely nicely, she didn't go, "Oh, this person's just using me." She was like, "It's just nice for someone to be nice to me."
It's like, oh my god, someone hugged me.
And this is exactly how we've seen Vought time and time again get their claws into people.
They get them when
Um,
they're vulnerable. They manipulate them, think that they care. Then when they get like Kate's obviously got older, probably at the point where she was like, I know this isn't right, but I'm stuck doing this and I don't know that I can like fight against it.
yeah,
So yeah, stuck. We saw at the end of the whole dream memory thing, we saw like how many times she made Golden Boy forget. And it seems that obviously, like we kind of theorized last week, which was like, it was obviously the effect of making him forget was getting weaker, which is why he was
yeah,
starting to remember more often. Clearly, it's
yeah.
like she can do it. Like the brain just fights it to a point where like even she can't make them forget something like that.
Based on
Um,
how we know other superhero powers work in The Boys,
hmm.
I wouldn't be surprised if her power was giving him some kind of genuine brain damage.
Yeah, well, I would imagine it's sort of like she's not necessarily erasing the memory. She's just cutting off like the neural connections to that memory. And then like
Yeah,
your brain just regrows those connections. It's like when you forget to walk, you relearn and you regrow those connections on how to walk. And then your body's like, oh shit, we remember how to do this. I think it's the same thing of like she's able to kind of cut off a memory, but not get rid of it. and it's just the brain just fights against that, and it's like slowly over time these things rebuild, and
Yeah.
it's like,
Especially when he's as superpowered as he is, probably with an
mm,
enhanced healing factor or whatever.
exactly.
Have you
Uh,
also seen, though, with the theme in this show being people using their powers without knowing or meaning to, that people are starting to think that Golden Boy didn't kill himself and Marie accidentally killed him
mm,
based on the way he exploded?
maybe.
Because he
I
didn't like burn himself to a crisp, he flew up and blew up.
True.
And now that we've seen more of Marie's powers and how they work, people are wondering, did Marie, bearing in mind she doesn't seem to fully understand her own powers,
No.
did she, like,
Out of
in a moment
fear.
of panic,
Yeah.
accidentally blow him up?
Maybe. I don't know. It could also be like they knew a way to kind of, or he knew to overcharge himself. He clearly was the whole like pumping him full of blood as well from his brother to like clearly trying or were enhancing his powers.
Yeah.
Um, I thought it
There,
was very interesting that everyone essentially has blood on it. Like everyone has dirt. Like Jordan only got the assistant role because she
or
walked
Golden
in
Boy,
on,
one of the other times he worked out what was going on.
yeah, and like stepped in because it's in that situation where like you don't know that you might have just helped the wrong person, and then that like the dean, he's like, oh, you've done great, and it's like suddenly some like appreciation that Jordan hadn't felt from like a father
Eh,
figure, and then
Yeah,
suddenly like,
exactly.
oh yeah, cool, I'll be a PA. As like everyone had dirt. I think that also kind of helps Kate's situation, helps them realize that she isn't necessarily a bad person because she was stuck in that situation and got manipulated.
Uh huh.
Um, we do have to talk about though what the fuck happened to Dusty.
He did.
Izzy, like no
Yeah.
one addressed it. Like I
He
was
did.
expecting them to come out of the like memory shit, and it's just like there's just blood on the floor. But like,
He's had a brain aneurysm essentially.
yeah,
He's
but
brain dead.
his body should be there then.
Yeah, no, he was behind the counter
Yeah,
when
but
she
they,
was on the thing,
how did
so
they
he
not
would have
notice
fallen
it?
asleep behind. No, they probably just didn't give a fuck.
Here's the thing. I think they're gonna be like the next thing will be like, hang on, has anyone seen Dusty? And then they're gonna
Yeah, no,
find his
yeah,
body.
Dusty's dead. The Soldier Boy cameo was very very well
Yes.
done.
Little creepy that they made
Very
him
creepy.
so obsessed with the fact that he got Kate to come of age.
Well, you've got to remember that's like how Kate
I
thinks of him,
know, but it's still
which is why he was weirdly politer than actual Soldier Boy
well,
is.
yeah, he's like how he appears on TV. Like we know what he's like, but for the TV, like TV Soldier Boy is how
Yeah.
Homelander TV used to be. Like everyone thought he was amazing and this perfect American hero. So of course, like that's her perception of it.
Um, very 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 good.
Mm.
Um,
Emma and Sam got it on.
yeah. I'm actually a big fan of that romantic storyline.
Yeah, so am I. Do you know what it's making me think of? And this is obviously like I know the boys and generally it's like always poking punches at Marvel and stuff. Sam, very strong, goes into a bit of a rage, almost Hulk like a little bit, loses control. We had Black Widow was the person that got him to come back. We now have Emma is the person that's going to get Sam to come cool down and chill out.
The notion that he had one of his episodes where everyone appears to be puppets mid through losing his virginity is fucking
Well,
hilarious.
I think that showing it comes from essentially a place of like when he's in a situation that he is unknown and his brain sort of like panics or like retract like goes into like childhood mode because he's like, oh my god, what the fuck like we don't know what to do in this situation. So yeah, the fact that Emma turned into a puppet midway through and it's like that's a bit of a weird thing to happen to you, mate, but here we are.
Yeah. It was Overall, it was another really good episode. I mean, Gen V's not missing.
It's really not.
It's progressing the story really well. We've got 3 more episodes. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, 2 more episodes. 2 more.
Is it not? Oh, is it only 8, not 9?
Next Friday, Friday the 3rd, is the last episode of Gen V and the first
Okay.
episode of Invincible.
We also do need to talk about the Dean and what she's up to.
Nothing good, Hori.
I don't think she's doing this for Vought. Well, I think she is, but she's got her own agenda.
This is the Boys 101. Everyone's part of an organization and an entity, but everyone has their own ulterior motives, and they try and find this cross point where everything lines up. So she is absolutely trying to find students who can protect her from Vought.
Yeah.
In case what she's trying to do for Vought doesn't work.
Yes, but I also think she has a personal agenda of she wants to kill all Supes. I reckon the reason that she was like so excited that this virus had killed one of them, and she wants to make it contagious, I don't think she cares about suppressing Supes. I think she wants to get rid of Supes. She's in a school where she didn't have powers. She sees all these students with power. I reckon like everyone has their own agenda. I think she genuinely hates Supes, and she's using her position now to try and find a thing that's gonna.
So we know that this season of Gen V leads into season 4 of The Boys. Do we think this season potentially ends with her making a call to one William Butcher?
Maybe. Or do we end up in a situation where William Butcher is now trying to help the student Supes because it's not their choice to be a Supe, and they realize that this Dean is just as bad as a Supe without anyone controlling them? Like, both sides is bad. Supe with ridiculous powers like Homelander, who doesn't give a shit and does what he wants, that's bad, needs to be dealt with. Person who has the power to wipe out all Supes because they just see them all as bad, also bad and a bit over the top. Maybe Butcher just becomes just goes after the bad person.
Yeah, it's an interesting one because in reality, Vought, the mega corporation, are the only bad guys here.
Yes.
Yes, we've got Homelander and stuff, but they're only bad guys because of Vought. But I don't know how they fix this because there's no way Amazon let the big crescendo to their biggest TV show end up being mega corporation bad.
I don't know.
As much as I'd love for them to, I don't even think Amazon would, unless they think so little of us as consumers.
I can imagine that.
I can only imagine at some point Amazon go, okay, but now you need a poor immigrant to be the bad guy.
Now, I see Amazon as not interfering because they're just too oblivious to realize this is actually making fun of them. I think they just see the success of the show and see the money and don't really care about anything else.
That is also very possible. Because let's be honest, as we discussed recently, media literacy is at an all-time low, so people won't even realize that the whole point is mega corporation bad. So
yeah,
you're probably not wrong.
But yeah, very excited.
I'm very excited for the next couple of weeks.
Yes.
I've got a feeling this is going to be an absolute bombshell.
It's going to make me want season 2 straight away, though. That's the problem.
And we've got an entire season of The Boys to get through first.
Yeah, this is
not
true.
Get through, enjoy first.
Yes.
But that will be a completely separate story that just feeds into the next story of Gen V.